There you go.
Okay, guys, you're live.
Hi, good morning. Happy Thursday. Last Thursday I said Tuesday, so I'm glad I'm on, Thursday today. I am so excited. I can't even believe that you guys are here. You're all the way from Williams, one of my favorite places, as everybody knows. But we are here today actually to talk about something very big and very important. And so I am so happy to have you. Sean's back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Sean. This
That's
is
awesome.
Tom West. And they are from Operation Transition Outside the Wire. It's big.
That's right.
So I would like for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself first before, that's a like. That means people like us.
Oh,
We're good. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll get into really why you're here.
okay. Well, my name's Tom West. I'm the co-founder, also Marine Corps vet, served 87 and 91, got out after Desert Storm. Had kind of an interesting transition myself, homeless for 3 months in Kansas City.
Wow.
Suffered for many, many years with alcoholism. It's the common story of many Marine.
Yeah, I bet.
Blessed to be here today and stepping up to help our brothers and sisters do something that's not currently being done, and that's the transition to civilian life the correct way to get these men and women to start off with some success in their life rather than a 2-year fist fight is what I used to like to call it.
Yeah.
Right, just struggling and
Not
fighting.
knowing what to do when they get out.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what transition outside the wire really is at the very high level. It's engaging our veterans right when you get out of service, being proactive with 6 months worth of help to get them back on their feet, give them all the tools they're going to need to survive civilian life.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, and you don't really think about it, but if you are 18, you're getting out of high school, you're going straight into, where the Army, Marines, wherever you're going, and you're there 4 or 5 years, even longer possibly. You've never really learned how to manage money or, do all these things.
Yeah.
And then you're just thrown out there.
Exactly. And, in the Marine Corps, I'm not sure about the Army, but being an officer here, he probably had an executive assistant. But, what you're told what to wear, where to be, what you're going to eat. I mean, from top to bottom, 24/7, your life.
And you're sent out and said,
And
good
then,
luck.
and thank you for your service often falls short when you get out of trying to see what opportunities are there. And, we have a different product. So there's a lot of great organizations out there that do help with job assistance, and they help with getting you enrolled in college and to do those sorts of things. But myself, I was an 0311, which basically means infantry in the Marine Corps, and trying to figure out what skills I have that translate to
civilian life.
But I'll tell you,
Security guard.
right? The number one thing I tell vets, the number one item that should be on your resume is critical thinking under pressure. You've had years and years and years of doing exactly that.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to my time. I was a contractor in aerospace and defense for 30 years.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I went from this over here to this crazy world.
Whew.
And we had a fire alarm in Boeing. Right? And I think it was just let's do the exercise of fire alarm. It wasn't really a fire.
Yeah.
And watching people basically
Panic.
come unglued, I'm just going, man, thankfully there wasn't really a fire.
Right?
You would never survive, right?
Yeah.
No.
Well, to us, it's like, well, okay, there's a fire,
Next step.
and
Here's what
you
we
just
do.
process through it.
Yeah. When we come under patrol and we come across Marines, they'd always light their damn tents on fire. And we see we go, oh, maybe, there's a Humvee burning over there. We got to check it out. And then you see a bunch of Marines trying to put out their tent. It was funny.
That's right. Well, you got to remember, too, we don't have a tent in the Marine Corps. We get half a tent.
Yeah.
It's called a shelter half. My buddy gets the other half, and it's pretty important.
Then you put them together.
And we put them together.
Yeah.
They're not fireproof?
No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
No. That would cost too much.
That
Right.
would cost too much. Sean, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into really.
Yeah, so when I was here last, with Arizona Veteran Canine Services, and we utilize canines. We try to rescue them from pounds and shelters and stuff like that. And we try to take the dog that's uncooperative and maybe probably bitten somebody, and they're not allowed to adopt him out. So they have to either euthanize them or find a nonprofit that they can give them to. We then take a couple of dogs at a time, get that dog to behave, and hopefully, while saving their life, we can save a veteran's life through that program. It completes a holistic approach. Then we try to name them after a fallen veteran.
Very
And
cool.
that takes on an extra meaning that veteran that has fallen, in kind of name, they have a nickname,
Right.
Trigger or whatever it is. They then get to take care of another vet, with that memory, and it's a
Yeah.
full circle. And cost of doing so for the veteran is zero, but the cost for us is exponential. I mean, with vets, food, the actual training equipment, facilities. If we don't particularly have one, we have to utilize one.
Yeah.
We do have remarkable partners like Risen Star Kennels and stuff like that allow us to use their facility. We do have some amazing partners, but that doesn't take away from the the expense
more.
and
Yeah.
and every time I'm introduced to a veteran or something that has had a dog either in the past or currently, and it's amazing how much that dog
They like you.
that's great. It's amazing how much that dog does for them and gets them out of that mindset. And it takes away that aggression. My dog will completely, there's been so many times I left him at home and I got into a situation where I needed him,
Yeah.
and that's one thing. It's funny how I train this and don't do it myself. It's a little embarrassing, but you got to take that dog everywhere because you never know when it's going to pop off and you're going to need that dog.
Yeah.
And had I had my dog the last couple of times, it would have probably saved me a lot of heartache. But it's amazing because you take your focus off the incident or the problem, and then just petting the dog will bring you down. 10 notches.
Well, we talked about the fact that the nice thing, how you guys have been able to partner up, is that when you get a vet and they get to come stay in your program and have that 6 weeks time, or 6 months,
6 months.
6 months, that
Yeah.
these dogs get to come one with them, so
Right.
they get to actually be their trainer. They get to start to learn each other very early on.
Right.
We figure they'll be in every possible situation, and probably more so because our goal is to have 25 families. That's 25 dogs,
Yeah.
25 people having chow together.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
so your normal civilian experience, you really don't have that. But part of the socialization, and I know it sounds funny for veterans, when you come out is that's part of it as well. And a big reason why we chose Williams. There's a lot of people there, but there's no happier person on planet Earth than a tourist.
We love Williams.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm one of
Right.
those guys.
you interact with somebody on the streets and they're just happy as can be.
You're right. Whether
Because
it's snowing or sunshine.
It doesn't matter. They're just happy, and Williams is very, very veteran friendly. There's 3,100 people there, but they estimate that it's 60% of everybody that's part of Williams, either a veteran or connected with a veteran.
Wow.
And
Is
so
it because it's just a little bit out there? You have more space, do you think?
I think so, but if you look back at its patriotic roots, from the late 1800s all the way forward, and you start looking at, we have a Buffalo soldier that's buried in Williams.
Wow.
We have a Medal of Honor recipient from the Indian Wars. We have a lot of vast history inside of Williams, and there's a great deal of pride for
Just
those that have
makes you
served.
feel safe.
And I always put an asterisk by that when I say for those who have served. It's don't just give credit to the vet, give credit to the family, the support of that young man or that young woman who served, because a lot of folks think that you marry a Marine, it's going to be great, you get base housing, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
You're dealing with the
A
mental
lot
part of it.
Mental part of it. When you're off at war, and there's a car that drives down your street and pulls into somebody else's driveway, you telling me that every spouse on that street their heart just didn't sink.
Yeah.
And we're trying to also at the same time when we're doing our mission, keep raising awareness to people to be very cognizant about what these military families are going through. And we
whole
haven't
family.
even touched on Gold Star families yet.
Right.
That'll shatter your heart in 10,000 pieces. For the ones that lost the war at home,
Goosebumps.
you know, there's
Yeah.
don't shame them.
Should we go into the video on how you got started, and then I
Yeah.
think that'll take us really
You want
into
me to
the
give you a
rest.
little preface on
I would
that?
love it, yeah.
So we had a coffee shop in Long Beach, California. But the way my wife and I architected it was, hey, you want to come in and get a cup of coffee, but at the same time donate a jacket. If you can't afford a cup of coffee, I'll get you one for free, and down the hallway, take a jacket. So we had this ever-rotating kind of community-driven,
Wow.
taking a commercial business where you're trying to survive, but also, too, taking care of others that
Are in need.
Yeah, they're living on the streets.
Or have
and-
extra, so they get
Exactly.
to donate and feel good. And
So we had a veteran come in on a Sunday. It was right after noon. I remember it. I could picture it, right? And this gentleman came in, tall, linky-looking guy, had his Desert Storm hat on. And,
Not me, by the way.
right? Yeah, he was a skinny guy.
skinny short, wasn't
And
you?
he came in with tears. He said, I finally got housing. And his house, when you open the door hit his single bed. That tells you how big
small.
his house was. It's the old naval housing down in Long Beach. He said, they raised my rent, and I just can't afford it. And I said, well, come back tomorrow. My wife and I will figure something out. So we said, you know what? Drip Coffee from now on is a donation. If you can't afford it, take one. If you can give $1 or $5, but 100% of what we're doing here with that coffee is going to help offset his costs. We later learned that Sean Huffman has stage 4 cancer, has no family, had lost his wife and his son in a DUI accident, has lived in it. I mean, it is this, how he survived to that point is just beyond me. And then now we're dealing with stage 4 cancer. So
And homeless.
and homeless. So we took Sean in. I absolutely love this man, and his last 5 months of life, he needed hospice care. So my wife and I became his caregivers. We moved him in the house. We took care of him, and it was an absolute privilege to be a part of that man's life.
Wow.
So during that 5 months was about the bucket list. Sean, what do you want to do? Let's just do it. And one day he says, I want to go see the Grand Canyon. I've always wanted to see it. So off we did. We went up, and instead of getting a hotel, we decided let's camp.
Oh my God.
And everything we were doing out of that coffee shop was very reactive. It was waiting for you to come to me for water. It was waiting for you to come and ask for a coat. There was nothing proactive in the way that we were doing things, which is a norm.
Yeah.
And we all know that.
It makes us feel like we're helping, right?
It does. It gives us the warm fuzzies. It only takes 5 minutes. There's not a whole lot of real direct engagement there. So we get up to Williams, up by Dogtown Lake, in the middle of the pines. We light this big, huge campfire, and we're just hanging around. And it just feels so peaceful. You don't have the noise of the city. You can hear yourself think. You're connected with nature. You still have that brotherhood and that sisterhood going on. And it dawned on me. What in the heck are we doing just waiting for people to come to us? Let's bring our veterans up here from all over the U.S. You don't have to be from Arizona. You can be from anywhere. It's about saving a life. Bring them up there for 6 months of campfires, 6 months of being able to hear yourself think. Let's get you engaged with college. Let's get you certifications. And there's a whole long line you can read about on the website at operationtotw.org, operationtotw.org. And you can look at everything that's being offered there. And also at the same time, because when we worked with vets out of the coffee shop, you know what the number one reason, at least the hundreds of vets we worked with, the number one reason for being on the street? Divorce. 70% divorce rate first year out of service. And I guarantee you, when you have the PTSD stigma, you're not seeing your kids for a while.
Yeah.
You just lost your home. You barely got back on your feet. You're possibly going to pay out. It just goes on and on and on.
Wow.
Because I'm different and she's different when I come back.
Yeah.
Same big heart, same things, but you know what? I'm not the same guy I was when I was 17 when I went in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't make that work. There is ways. So once again, not only are we trying to save marriages and we're trying to deal with mental health, we need to give them tools. So not only can you be productive as a civilian, but you know what? Your family should be number one. God, family is 2 top priorities in your purpose. We always look at it as men. We provide, man. We got to go out and make some money. That's my purpose. The hell it is. Step up. Your wife's your purpose too. Your family's your purpose.
Yeah.
That all has to be there. So when you go down this journey of 6 months, bring all those that served with you, because they served too.
So you get to bring your family.
So
They
you'll get to
bring
meet
their
Sean
family.
Huffman. Was stage 4 cancer. Unfortunately, we lost him, which you'll see in the video. Went from having no family, no friends. And go ahead and roll it. Check this out.
Roll it, Jeff.
It's been 6 months since we had to say goodbye. Sure want to let you know we're moving forward. We're going to build that ranch. And even though you're not here to be a part of it, you are a big part of it. You got a big family down here that's missing the heck out of you. What I'd give just for another day with my brother Sean. I love you, man. Miss you.
Sean, our coffee shop didn't survive, but had we never opened this, you never would have been in our lives. We love you. You're the big brother I never knew I needed, and I miss you every single day.
Hundreds of people showed up.
Hundreds of people.
Yeah, this never gets old.
Us.
It's perfect outside, it's like God let me dial up the weather. Got the whole crew here, I ain't seen some of them in forever. It's one of those never forget it, better stop and take it in kind of scenes. Everything's just right, yeah, except for one thing. You should be here, standing with your arm around me here, cutting up, cracking a cold beer, saying cheers. Hey y'all, it's sure been a good year. It's one of those moments that's got your name written all over it. And you know that if I had just one wish, it'd be that you didn't have to miss this. You should be here. You'd be taking way too many pictures on your phone, showing them off to everybody that you know back home, and even some you don't. Yeah, they say now you're in a better place, and I would be too if I could see your face. You should be here, standing with your arm around me here, cutting up, cracking a cold beer, saying cheers. Hey y'all, it's sure been a good year. It's one of those moments that's got your name written all over it. And you know that if I had just one wish, it'd be that you didn't have to miss this. Oh, you should be here. You'd be loving this. You'd be freaking out. You'd be smiling. Yeah, I know you'd be all about what's going on right here, right now. God, I wish somehow you could be here. Oh, you should be here. Yeah, this is one of those moments that's got your name written all over it. And you know that if I had just one wish, it'd be that you didn't have to miss this. Oh, you should be here. You should be here.
That is Sean Huffman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that he forgot to mention is they were putting this on, and they were worried of what the police were going to do. You know what they did? They got out of their
Stop
cars and
passing.
saluted him
Yep.
and shook his hand. And they had no issues. Not like they thought they would have.
Yeah.
Right.
Out in big old
Yeah.
Long Beach, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of COVID, so we thought
Yeah.
they're going to shut us down, and first those cop cars come flying up, and they got out and they did that, and I just
Yeah.
thought, what a class act, you know. And really, when we talk about the root of what we're doing and why Sean Huffman's so important and his life wasn't in vain is help your vets up front. Don't allow them to get to the streets. Don't allow them to lose their name and who they are.
He didn't have to die alone.
He didn't have to die alone, but also I look back and I'm thinking if I'd have got my arms around him sooner,
Right.
if I could have loved my brother up front, you know, but he didn't die in vain. And that many, many others have been helped since him, and they will continue to be helped because of just who he was. He was an infectious. The night before he passed away, he got up out of his hospital bed and he looked out the door and he just smiled again. You got any watermelon? That was his life. He didn't blame anybody. He wasn't angry. He lived with such dignity. It was such a privilege and a blessing to be a part of his life. And wow, what you know, and there's a lot of Sean Huffmans out there that we're not helping right now. Or they're ones that have just gotten out of service, and guess what? They're on their way to end up on the streets, and that's what it looks like at the end of it. We got to stop that stupidity.
Yeah, and it's, you know, so little of the population, 1% serve.
Yeah.
And why, you know, I don't want to get on a tangent and blame, but I'm disappointed the way our system helps our veterans. I'm really in shock. I, for many years, didn't join VA for that reason. I seen the way they treated my father for, you know, an 85-year-old Air Force veteran who served 20 years, and they can't give him one lick of help. And it's only because he didn't sign up. Well, that era didn't. That era just went out and worked, and they raised their families, and they did what they had to do. So, you know, I mean, okay, so, you know, what I'm seeing is others that don't deserve it are getting it. You know, like reparations in California, they want to give $358,000 to everyone, a home for $1. Why hasn't that been brought up to give to veterans?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it just, we're kind of backwards in this country right now. We're really hurting, and you know, I think part of what Tom and I, you know, come here and do events and stuff like that, we're looking for the community to step up. We're looking to have the community fill the gap of what should be our government doing and are not, and falling terribly short, and hoping that the community sees enough in it that they want to come forward and help.
And our model's interesting because much like with Sean Huffman, we use coffee to fund us 100%.
Right.
So people can go online at operationtotw.org
The coffee's delicious.
and they subscribe to coffee. For those that don't want to drink coffee, when you check out, hit donate to troops. We've delivered coffee to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq border, USS Mankin Island, and Kuwait. We're getting ready to do another shipment to Poland.
Wow.
It's less about the coffee than how the bag is actually built that tells that person serving right now, times get tough when you get out, call me. It's also a way that we don't take any government money. The veteran way is to earn it. If you ever want to know who a real veteran is on the street, you generally won't see them with a sign. And if you try to give them money, they'll be so darn stubborn, they'll try to push you away. So, and then people say, well, how does coffee roasting translate?
How did we
And
get
I'm
to
like-
coffee?
I'm like, because that's underlying it. It provides the revenue, it provides the food, it provides the housing, it provides everything that goes with that. And when you think about building coffee, you got to go through procurement. You got to order green beans. You got to work with suppliers. You got to negotiate deals. You got to be able to create the product, package a product, ship and receive the product. On the back end, you've got QuickBooks that they'll learn. You've got Microsoft Office you get certified in. You work with a supply chain and e-commerce. Now take all that away and say, I want to build Leatherworks. You still have to procure the leather. You still have to, right? It's an education from top to bottom of all of these different components that make up a business model.
So amazing.
And at the end of the program, the veteran gets paid for every hour they worked. Because
have a
I didn't
purpose.
hand you shit. You earned it, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the power behind it. That gives you self-worth that I'm not, because you know what the
I'm not
cycle
taking,
is?
I'm giving.
The
to
cycle,
get.
you give $100 to somebody right now, and in 2 weeks later, they'll need another 100.
Yep.
Right.
You're giving them fish. It's that old methodology of, let's not teach you how to fish, let's just give you a fish. We don't want the handout. But we need to know how to navigate this civilian life to learn how to earn it at the same time. We knew how to do that in the military. We know the rules. We know how it works.
Got trained.
You got trained, and every single day you're getting trained.
Yeah.
And then welcome to civilian life. And then another mistake that I see a lot of vets get pigeonholed when they get out. So say you're a motor T guy. Well, we're going to try to get you a job in motor T. Well, I was infantry, and I went and finally got my master's of computer science and did aerospace and defense for 30 years. Let's not that define you.
Yeah.
Allow my commitment and my drive,
Right.
critical thinking under pressure, all of those things, those tangibles that we take from the military, and apply that for whatever we want to do. And when I say whatever you want to do, it needs to be whatever you want to do, because you understand hard work is everything. You wake up, effort, and attitude. And if you don't have either one of those in the military, it gets corrected pretty quick.
They'll find a way to show you.
Yeah,
Huh?
Real
yeah.
quick. Yep.
They have an interesting way of doing that. So now here's another great thing about coffee is that we have a pretty small board. On the video, you've seen the gentleman there with the trach tube. He's been affected by the burn pits. He's a combat veteran, served in
We
Fallujah.
have a picture of that right here.
Yeah, the one in the back.
That's
Yeah.
Brian Alvarado and his beautiful wife, lower right, and his daughter Ree, incredibly awesome. Lower left is Ann McMurtry, my sister. I love her dearly. Her husband Charlie was somebody we had met at the coffee shop that finally had, guess what? He had the house, had the car, had everything going great. Suicide by cop. We lost him on the I-10 freeway after the VA medicated him beyond stupidity, that he didn't even know who he was, and he left this beautiful woman behind, who's also a veteran that runs the Women's Unity Group in Southern California and uplifts female veterans and gets them housing and does that on a daily basis. These are incredibly special people. That picture was taken at Veterans Row, where they've been leasing off all of the property that was donated to veterans to special interests at the West LA VA, and it used to be a tent city called Veterans Row. They've now moved inside the fence and given them a shack, and we believe that that's problem solved. It's not.
It's not.
It's almost inhumane. I've
Putting
given
a
you a
Band-Aid.
dog cage and taken away your freedom. And we are so backwards. And we were talking earlier, for anybody who says, God, I just wish I could help. I just wish I could help. Close your mouth, open your ears, and become visible to those that need your help. Don't expect for them to call you. Show up, make a pot of coffee, sit your butt on the couch, and listen. Being present trumps being alone.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
It's too
present
late,
for
right?
them in whatever you need. Just be present.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's probably 90% of what I do. When I get a call at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I have to go to a call where there's a suicide possibly in progress, you go there and you shut your mouth and you listen. You don't go with hey, I've got a cool recipe. I've seen this meme on Facebook, and if I say this one thing, it's going to fix you. Bullshit. Stop it.
Yeah.
But by all means, show up.
Well, you said something to me that hit home. You said everyone wants to help, and everyone says, "Oh, I seen that they weren't feeling so good, or they weren't, themselves, or whatever the case."
Right.
But no one says, "I made that call. I said I'm going to call at 1 o'clock every day or 6 at night or whatever the case is. And I'm going to do that continuously because I see you struggling.
Right.
They just said, oh, yeah, Bob was not feeling good. Right. And then it's too late.
And then, you know, it's the same notion. We sit here and go, what are we doing with all these active shooters? What are we doing? We keep having them. Well, you know why we keep having them? Because we still talk about the same BS. And we do nothing. We have a mental illness crisis in America.
Yeah.
And we do nothing.
Right.
We want to blame inanimate objects for the responsibility of what people's actions do.
Right.
We need to have accountability. When you feel and see somebody isn't acting right, you got to tell somebody.
You have to take action.
You know, and that somebody should be somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yep.
Say, for instance, you know, we have a person who's, you know, suicidal. You know, for a long time, there were police that weren't trained in that. They just, you know, run and gun, get rid of the threat. You know, I could literally not have a problem if I knew the individual was a vet, and walking out in front of that line of fire and sitting down with that vet, knowing full well he isn't going to touch me, knowing full well he's not going to touch me.
Yeah.
Someone else, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, but with me, because there's that connection,
The vets and vets.
he's gonna talk, and I'm gonna listen.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
On your coffee bags, you have the number 22. Is that correct?
That's right.
And that's because
22 a day. And
Yeah.
in the year 2020,
I think it's more than that now.
It was 28 a day, but it's more of a gauge number, right? That just says, hey, we've got a suicide epidemic in the veteran community. And 22 kind of signifies that. It does go up. It does go down a little bit.
So 22 veterans a day commit suicide.
Yep.
Yeah, and it kind of breaks down.
At least
6,500 or 6,800 according to the VA statistics. I don't know what that means, but which breaks down to 1 every 80 minutes.
Yeah.
We're losing a veteran.
And it really becomes people wake up when they're part of the circle. If it's somebody that you know, if it's a family member, if you've just become a Gold Star family, by all means, then it's important to you.
What do you mean by Gold Star?
Gold Star family could be, say, your husband served and was killed in combat, or
Son.
lost the war at home, or your son,
daughter.
a family member. That's in direct correlation. So there's Gold Star moms, Gold Star dads.
Gotcha.
And Gary Sinise, by the way, does a phenomenal job with his organization, which started off as Snowball Express. Now he wraps those big arms around every Gold Star family in America. They take them on Disney trips, but they're engaging these families together. So as a group, they have healing
They get to heal.
and similar experiences. So what I also tell people is when you subscribe to Coffee and you become a member, our goal is 15,000. That means we're providing leadership, and if you would like to teach a class, if you would like to stay at the ranch, if you would like to do something for veterans, then guess what? You can.
Wow.
Well, we have 2 members right out of Havasu that own an airplane. They said, well, Tom, we'd love to fly veterans in and out of Williams. See, it wasn't until, 9/11. You couldn't go down the freeway without seeing an American flag.
Right.
And people checking up on their neighbors. We were all impacted. All impacted.
Yeah.
Well, that generation's now gone because our younger generation has no idea what 9/11 was except for a few pictures. This is an opportunity for us to go stop complaining about who's serving in Congress. Why don't you step up and do something?
Take action.
It drives me crazy when people, all they do is complain and there's no action.
Right.
Get involved, save a life. If you want to be part of that, by all means. We have 7 board members. Not one of us take a penny. 100% of what comes into this company goes directly to those veterans in the way of the direct services and also the indirect ones, the career development and so on and so forth.
Let's talk
And-
a little bit about what you do there. So you are able to bring the whole family in,
Yes.
and then what happens from that beginning point?
So the first week kind of looks like a honeymoon, full of, because we're getting you enrolled into VA. We're starting to teach you, here is a huge roadmap of how to navigate that VA. We want to go get you checked out because let's face it, when a lot of us vets EAS, when we exit service, we check the boxes that get us on that bus and get us out of there quick.
Fast as possible.
I'm not saying, I'm hearing voices. Nope, we're not checking them boxes. I don't have too much ringing. I'm good right now. I'll check with you're trying to get out of there.
Gotcha.
And you're excited about becoming a civilian, right? And we all kind of go through that. Well, we need to revisit it. And as I tell veterans with me, man, you be the most selfish son of a gun I've ever met. I want to know everything about you.
Yeah.
And don't care about what I think or anybody else, because what happens here does stay here. I'd never take on personal issues and discuss them outside, and that goes for everybody that's there.
Yeah.
Because you violate trust once, that's all you are, right?
Yeah, you're trained that
And
way, yeah.
So we get that. You get your house assigned. The houses that we're building are actually being sponsored by companies. So you'll see a Boeing house or a Southwest Airlines house. Any company that wishes to say, my preference right now, I'll hire veterans. Well, guess what? Veteran stays in the house you sponsored. You get to be part of our career center. And Boeing becomes a great opportunity for a veteran.
Wow.
And it gets us 6 months to get you prepared for it.
Yeah.
Even better, right? And so you kind of get the lay of the land, a little bit of decompression. We sit at 6,800 feet up in the pine trees. There's fishing around. There's hiking. There's a Grand Canyon. There's all this exciting
Lots of fresh air.
outdoor stuff, right? and then we start getting into, okay, now you got to work. Now working is service to self, service to others. So you got 30-hour work weeks, but 10 hours of service to others. So where we have Camp Civitan works with special needs kids and special needs adults.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for 10 hours, you're going to get your butt up there and help them out.
Wow.
Give back a little bit. Because I'll tell you, 1 hour at Camp Civitan, you'll go away feeling like it is a very euphoric feeling
Like,
when you
I'm
come back.
okay.
These kids are
doing
awesome.
it. Oh,
They're just amazing. They're amazing human beings, and you're starting to socialize a little bit and figure out the civilian life thing. That's a great
Yeah.
way of doing it. So you get that first week is like basically your orientation. Grand Canyon University comes in, and they look at all your military experience, and guess what? They go, here's your college credits. How many
I didn't
vets
even
even know that exists?
yeah.
All right.
Get your service connection started now. Don't wait till you need them. Get your service connection started now, and our veteran service officer will get all that going.
Wow.
And guess what? We get you every day for 6 months.
We're not just throwing you out the door.
We're
a
not
week
just
later.
throwing you out the door, because it's kind of like I say. And then, like I said, at the heart of it, we have a combat trauma program. We also have a program called When War Comes Home, and that's for the spouses of a veteran, which oddly enough, that book's 3 times thicker than our combat trauma manual.
I bet.
But it's
I
administered
bet.
by combat vets. You don't have some junior college, fresh graduate with his flow chart ready to solve, because guess what? The magic is everybody's different. Everybody's experiences are different. One of the first trauma we always work with, and not because we ask for it, because I just put myself on the table and others put theirs, childhood trauma. We don't talk about it. Most of us Marines, we didn't come from a silver spoon-fed family
going
and
into it to get
got our
away
first
from-
car at 15 and a half, and
Yeah.
good old mom and dad were so No. A lot of the guys I served with are inner cities, ex-gang members,
Right.
a stint in jail, whatever the case may
Getting
be.
away from something.
90% mommy daddy issues. 90%, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. But, they come from a home where they're trying to get rid of mom or trying to get away from dad or both. And they
Yeah.
just want to start their lives. And, high school is messed up.
Yeah.
We'll take you. Be all
Didn't
you
even
can
think
be.
about all that.
Oh,
man.
It's a doozy. It's
Wow.
a doozy. But it's a place where you can get all that out.
Yeah.
Right.
Start
And
to
you
work
can,
through your stuff
exactly.
safely
Safely.
in a safe environment.
Yeah, and it does get loud and proud sometimes, but you know what? You're in the middle of the woods.
Right.
You get to be that.
You get to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no better investment, right? I mean, they're young men and women. Most of them that we work with are young, mid-20s.
Really.
There's somebody's son. There's somebody's nephew. There's somebody's grandchildren. And that's not important enough it's the least political thing you can deal with. Our veterans and
There
first
you go.
responders.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see how you can even
He doesn't say a lot of smart things, but that's one of them.
That was
every now and then
that was pretty smart.
light bulb moment. But it's true. It's about time Americans step up. Stop your whining.
Yeah.
Right.
Get involved.
Show
Take
up.
care of. Show the heck up.
Show up.
See, I cleaned that up. I said heck.
Yeah,
you
there
did
you go.
good. I told
Thank
him
you.
he couldn't cuss. You know,
And I did
if a
slip up once. I
was-
apologize to everybody
okay.
out there
I
for
normally
my
Twice.
slip
slip
with
up.
that one,
Twice.
too.
Twice.
Well,
Twice?
I am
Twice.
so happy to have you guys here. What a great thing. If you guys have any questions or any concerns, you can reach out to either gentleman. We will also post their stuff, and they've also talked about where we can find them.
Yep.
It is time to show up, and it is time to make the calls, and be kind. You never know what
Exactly.
someone's going through.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes.
Be there.
Yes.
Be there first. Not when
Be
it's
there
too late.
Right.
Be there first.
How many families do you think that you've been able to help in the last 3 years?
Oh, in the last 3 years,
Man, a couple hundred.
as far as families, well, vets, there's been hundreds between our LA office and the office in Williams for the homeless and displaced vets. We'll never give up on that. But direct families, 25, 30 or so.
Nice.
But it's still, until we get everything fully built, until we get everybody to really step up, it's still this ad hoc, and it's tough because you'll go, say we do our combat trauma group, and then you go home after that. I always say the most dangerous times between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., keep your phone on,
Right. Right.
because things have, we need them all together. And I'll tell you, it's going to make a difference. It's going to set a precedence for how this country needs to start taking care of their veterans.
Yeah.
Make something like this mandatory. So guess what? You're only going to have a better job. You're only going to have a better relationship with your kids. You're only going to have a better marriage.
Society,
And
right?
then on top
Goes
of
right into
that,
society.
You'll have a better relationship with Jesus Christ. That is guaranteed, and it's not me pushing it on you. You'll naturally have that relationship.
Yeah.
We all pray when we're going into battle, and we pray hard. And then sometimes we start to get away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, man, King David, read about King David. You want to talk about somebody who just,
Right.
woo! And it's powerful stuff. And when you let that in your heart, and you start to heal.
Very
Yep.
cool. Do you want to give them a little shout out of Williams, where they would actually get a hold of you, or kind of?
Yeah, so Williams, Arizona, we're at 420 North Grand Canyon Boulevard. So 420 North Grand Canyon Boulevard, downtown Williams. Our website is operationtotw.org, Operation Tango Oscar Tango Whiskey.org. My email's on there. My personal cell phone is on there. And I invite you.
Order coffee.
Order coffee.
Oh,
Make donations. Be a part of the solution in every possible way. Now's the time where we need to step up. So.
And when you see us at these events, for instance, we'll be at the Air Show.
Yeah.
Come by, talk to us, donate, volunteer, sponsor, get involved. Don't just look at the program and walk away. Do something and step up. Make things happen for the veterans. They deserve it. We kept you free for a long time, and we're still continuing to do so. And just a little bit of that gratitude goes a long way. It doesn't take much.
You too can be the change.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, thank you
We're
for
gonna
having
maybe
us.
go visit one day. Yes. Order coffee. Check out the websites. Thank you so much. Shop local, support local, and have a good day.
Good show, guys.
Awesome.